Hey, welcome to the Omaha Magazine podcast. It's about all of us, where we highlight Omaha business and community leaders, arts and culture, and where to dine and play. I'm Gil Cohen, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Omaha Magazine. Joining us today is Heath Mello, President of the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce, to share with us the exciting news of Omaha's flourishing economic growth and the need to not only recruit, but retain top talent. Well, Heath, welcome to the episode of Omaha Magazine. It's all about all of us. Appreciate you coming on. As we mentioned, Heath Mello is the president of the Greater Omaha Chamber. Is it still Greater Omaha or just Omaha Chamber?
We go by Greater Omaha Chamber.
Greater Omaha Chamber. So you're coming up on your first year, correct?
11 months now. 11 months we're working on. So
been a pretty busy 11 months.
It has been nonstop. It's been like anything I could say I ever imagined in 11 months, but it's been a lot of fun. So
what and for those of you who kind of may or may not know or followed Heath came from the legislature, did spend some time with various other chambers, correct? And then ran for mayor, and now is probably running what I would consider the largest business membership organization in the state. Is that probably pretty accurate?
You captured it pretty well, Gil. First, it's great to spend some time with you, and getting to spend time with always Omaha's premier magazine in terms of Omaha Magazine. Yes, Greater Omaha Chambers, the oldest business association in the state of Nebraska. We just celebrated we're celebrating our 131st year. Wow. This year, and the largest business organization in the state with over 3,000 members. And as I said, going into 11 months now. It's been a very intense time. There's a lot happening. It feels like every single month something new and something exciting, and it's a lot happening in Omaha, in the Greater Omaha area right now. And I think some of the things that we can be really, really proud of, but also there's a lot on the horizon that kind of makes this an exciting time to be, not just be in my seat, but arguably being involved in the Omaha business community.
It's kind of an exciting time to be in Omaha. I mean, Forbes, I gotta interject here though. If I did my research correctly, you were appointed to the position of president on your birthday.
That started. Yes, I started. Yeah, that's kind of, I always joke, like kind of.
What a great birthday gift.
I will always tell everyone, like, I will always celebrate my anniversary at the chamber on my birthday. So it's kind of a fun thing to always think about, is my birthday every year. That's I will funny. Celebrate my time at the chamber. So
not to pivot a little bit, my dad and I had the same birthday.
Oh,
and I would always tell people I was the only gift he couldn't return. Although there were probably times he'd want to, so let's get back to some of the initiatives maybe that are going on with the chamber now, and Forbes, right? Forbes just named Omaha as the city to be in. And is there a reason why we haven't closed the Mormon Bridge off because people are flooding to come over to Omaha?
That is. Hey, I'm glad you mentioned that, Gil. That is perhaps I would tell you the best news so far in 2024 for us is, anytime you can get a ranking from a premier entity like Forbes, that puts you number one in any category. Right. In this category being the number one city to move to in 2024. And it wasn't just that we're the number one city, but we ranked 100 out of 100 in their scoring matrix. You not only have to celebrate what you feel like, you got to go shout it from the mountaintops. Exactly. Because when you and I and everyone else gets to see how great Omaha is in terms of what we get to experience from our schools, from our neighborhoods,
arts and culture,
the
dining,
and even the revitalization and vibrant downtown that we're seeing in our urban core, the job opportunities that we're seeing more and more of across the whole city. Even still being, I say, a city that you can get around it in 25 minutes
easily.
That's essentially what Forbes was able to see.
Okay.
And then you add on top of it, Omaha is comparison to a lot of other major metropolitan cities, is one of the safest communities in the country.
Yep.
It's no wonder that they measured us against a lot of other cities and said, yes, this is a place you want to go to.
Do they send people here to this Forbes, or they do it from their office over there and do research and say, okay, this is a crime rate, this is the amount of restaurants, all that stuff?
Yeah.
Or they actually come out and check it out?
I think that we looked at some of their methodology, and they look at a lot of different data metrics in terms of how they kind of measure different aspects. And, some of it's economic, some of it's quality of life, some of it's, crime statistics, things of that nature, that you kind of compile all of it. And, when you add all of those items up, we came out on top fairly handily. But I think, when we always talk about it, like people in the Omaha area, when we're used to kind of our space, but,
Right.
I've kind of shared this anecdotally with folks. We've had a number of people come into the Omaha area over the last few months from a variety of different areas around the country, different speakers, different folks coming in, presenting and for different events, different conferences, consultants coming in, sharing in some different insights. And every single out-of-town visitor has been remarking to us how much shock that they have seen our area in terms of how vibrant it is, particularly how vibrant our downtown and our urban core is in comparison to all the other cities that they've come from or cities they've been visiting.
And they're going back to their cities,
their hometown,
and spreading the word, saying, "Hey, we had a great time in Omaha. We hung out at down in the old market, or we went to the once again named the #1 zoo in the nation."
And I've shared this with folks. And when you have out of town visitors coming in saying, "I visited Omaha, and this is a place that's got the dining was unbelievable, the vibrancy of people walking around and people." Having a good time and friendly and entertainment venues. And it just was a place that people said like, hey, you've got something going on here that I had no idea about. And I think it's something we sometimes take for granted being, either lifelong Nebraskans or lifelong Omahans. And it is something that, sometimes you hear the governor, you hear the mayor and other folks say, we have to brag about our city and our region a little bit more. And I think from the chamber's perspective, you're going to probably hear us talk about that a little bit more, is that we've got to go out and start to talk about Omaha more. We've got to go out and brand Omaha more across the country in terms of letting people know our story, because we've got a great story to tell, not just about economics, not just about the great jobs, but really kind of where people can come, they can start a career, they can start a family, can start their own journey here. And it's a place for everybody. And that's what it's just these anecdotal things that are happening serendipitously. I mean, the Forbes story really kicked things off.
I would think
kicked things off a couple months ago in a very, very unique way. Berkshire weekend was last month. CWS is going to be kicking off here in June. It's really unique of all this stuff's happening all at the same time.
So I'll go back to where we started here. Why aren't people flooding to move to Omaha? What's keeping business from moving to Omaha? Or is there something in particular? It's just a timing issue that article just came out, and obviously they can't make a decision in a day or two. But
so I think we're looking at this, as the chamber's the economic development organization for both Omaha and Douglas County, but we also serve as the regional kind of economic development organization for an 8-county area, 6 counties in Nebraska, 2 counties in Iowa. We have this unique partnership with a number of organizations in the region through our Greater Omaha Economic Development Partnership, as we call it. It's very unique, 30-year partnership, very, very special thing we've created over 30 years. And part of that economic development work we do. A lot of what we've been discovering in my 10 months I've been in the role, starting month 11 now. A lot of what we've discovered is part of where businesses, particularly new to market companies, and even companies that are looking to expand, keep bringing up more and more is clearly labor availability. That's part of the issue right now. When we were talking about businesses that want to come to Omaha, the biggest issue we are running into is ensuring we have a workforce and a labor availability to help fill what they need.
And that's interesting you brought that up, because I had talked to Governor Pillen about this time last year at the Offutt Employee Picnic. And I pretty much mentioned, I said, hey, thanks for getting the, eventually the income tax rate will start coming down. I said, but how are you going to make that tax revenue back up again? And he said, Gil, it's my job to find the state, is his quote, 80 to 100,000 employees short of full employment. We're still, even though restaurants have employees, they might be missing one or two staff members that would provide better service. So I don't know if that 80 to 100,000 relates, how much of that relates just to Omaha itself, or...
Yeah, we generally kind of look at some of the job availability in Omaha. We're always looking at some of our data and some of our research that out of that figure, we're always thinking that, growth wise, there's anywhere between 12 to 15,000 available jobs in the metro area that we're always trying to look at and gauge. Some of those positions are maybe on the lower wage spectrum. Some of them are on the middle wage spectrum. But I think for us, when it comes to attracting new companies to the area and companies that are going to be paying higher wage jobs, that really is for us the chicken and the egg conversation that we're having with the community right now. Is we have to start finding ways to attract people first.
Right.
And I think that's going to be a unique conversation that the chamber and our stakeholders and partners and our members are going to be having over the next couple years. Is we have to be thinking about talent. We're always going to be looking at helping companies grow, helping try to strategically bring new companies into the region. But our first and foremost focus is going to have to be growing population. And it's growing talent. And because companies right now, we've got, the new Fortune 1000 list literally just came out the other day. We've got a couple, I believe another company, FMBO, just got on the Fortune 1000 list, which was another addition in Omaha of having a company be added to the Fortune 1000 list. And it's another feather in Omaha's cap to have another great institution be recognized in that manner. And the issue now becomes, if we want to see companies in that Fortune 1000 list and other major employers, but also medium and small employers grow, they need people. Yeah. And it's about people. And so,
but where do we get these people from?
We've got, and it's about once again, going out and telling Omaha's story. It's about telling Omaha's story in California. It's telling Omaha's story on the East Coast.
Right.
And it's those areas of the country on the East and West Coast that we know have considerably higher cost of living. We know that their housing costs are a lot higher. Their transportation and commuting times are an hour or longer.
Yep.
As you and I 25 minutes in Omaha is anywhere in Omaha. And I think that's the thing is,
except for maybe between 5 and 6 on 90th and Dodge.
Okay, we can talk about that. Yeah, 5 and 6 a little bit on certain times, certain days of the week.
That's a tiny
little depending on where you're at. But I mean, I think we take some of that even for us. I mean, we're used to that. We take it for granted. Where people in Chicago are possibly on a commute for an hour and 20 minutes every single day. And folks on the West Coast in California and Los Angeles or in Washington, D.C. or in New York or in other areas, Atlanta even to some extent, they're in commutes for an hour and 20 minutes every single day to work and back. Yeah. And I think those are things that we are strategically looking for our advantages every single day and highlighting those advantages as we're trying to find the best arguments and the best stories that we can tell the people to say, this is why it's the best place to move to.
But that has to be a tough balance though, because just like you said, you can't get the chicken here, but then you can't get the egg here if you don't have the chicken. So maybe that's a bad analogy for that. But, is somebody going to move from Boston to Omaha if the job that they had in Boston isn't available here? But the company from Boston, are they going to move to Omaha if they don't have the talent to hire? So we still see we see consistently
economic growth from companies that new to market companies come year in and year out. I think it's more the opportunity for us like I say, in my 10 months being in this role, the opportunity is more as how fast of a growth do we want to see? I think from an economic growth perspective, we have probably a much larger growth opportunity in the next 5 years based on our ability to attract more talent.
I don't think anybody would expect you to get everything accomplished within 11 months. That's
no,
crazy.
but it's more of, I think when people see Omaha and the Omaha regions potential in the next 5 years, it really is. I mean, we've been a steady as she goes kind of growth pattern, and it really is. We've got a lot of wind behind us, so to speak, in terms of wind that can push us really fast, really far, quickly. It's a matter though of we can consistently bring in some new companies, the new to market companies. We can help some existing companies grow and expand. But if we get the talent and the population growth item and that formula in that equation figured out, and we can get that figured out relatively quickly, our growth can grow. Our growth can be exponential. And I think that can put us in a different category as a modern Midwest city.
Yeah.
Now, I also say that with a caveat, because I think the one thing I had a conversation yesterday with a couple CEOs was, something that makes us special, I've come to realize is, we do have a little bit of a Midwest kind of a Midwest perspective of wanting to kind of take a step back and take a landscape view.
Yeah.
And that landscape view sometimes helps us see the horizon where we don't want to make mistakes like other cities.
Yeah.
And I think to some extent, Denver is an example where Denver maybe didn't see their growth from a landscape perspective, where Denver grew too fast, too quick. And now people have been priced out of housing in Denver.
Yeah, everybody just moved there and paid $1 million for a house that would probably be $300,000 or $400,000 here in Omaha.
That your example, Gil, that is exactly where I think, from my perspective, that is the thing that kind of concerns me, concerns our team. Is we've got this real great opportunity in the Omaha area of some real growth opportunities for companies, for entrepreneurs, for employees, for families. But we also are looking at seeing what did other cities do where they made mistakes. When they saw this fast growth happen, how do we make sure we don't make those same mistakes? Because we've got all of these great ingredients, and we've got to make sure let's learn from those other mistakes that folks made.
Did one of the things that I think is on people's minds in the state is this brain drain. We have 3 terrific universities within 50-mile radius, obviously Creighton, UNO, and Lincoln. And then obviously we have a great technical school with MCC and some of the other ones. But it seems like that's been an issue too, where these kids are graduating and then they want to get out of the state. And the same thing happened in the 80s in North Carolina. And Governor Hunt developed the Research Triangle to keep those graduates in the state, and even to the point that I think they moved a huge IBM plant from Kinston, New York, down to Raleigh. Is there anything we can do to keep these kids from? We want people to come in, but we don't want them to leave either.
Gil, that is. I will tell you that question and that issue is something that I will tell you that is something we need to be bringing that issue up in front of every water cooler in every office and every coffee shop, and if folks are having a beer in different bars across the
and that's not necessarily your responsibility as a chamber president. I mean, obviously that's the governor's responsibility.
It's everybody's responsibility, and that's why I say everyone needs to be bringing this up in every social and every business situation that people can be bringing it up, because it's perhaps the bigger issue right now in terms of what I mentioned earlier about if we can't figure out the population and talent issue first, it's going to be that limiting factor for our future economic growth. We'll grow a little bit business-wise, growth-wise, but if we can't figure out that population talent, and it comes back to we're educating and investing a lot of state public resources
Absolutely.
in educating a tremendous amount of college graduates, 2-year graduates at our community colleges, 4-year graduates at our public and private institutions. And if we can't find that way to help retain them in Nebraska, we're making an investment and we're not getting that ROI back. I feel a lot better. I had a briefing this week. The Exarban Foundation, who's been leading the Intern Nebraska program, is kind of a public-private partnership with the state of Nebraska, some private funders who've been helping them out. They've kind of been able to help identify, that is perhaps the internship model is perhaps one of the strongest ways for us as either an individual organization, the business community writ large, to be able to give that work experience to students in high school and in college, particularly, whether you're in a community college or a 4-year institution, to give those students a chance to get that work experience in state, to consider wanting to stay in Nebraska after they've finished their education. And so I'm convinced that is right now the best focus we've got as a business community, is looking and seeing what the Exarban Foundation's been working really diligently on, not just in Omaha. They've been doing it statewide, and it's been fabulous, but really trying to double down our work and people needing to partnering with them, reaching out, getting more information. If folks don't have an internship program, reach out to them. They'll help you get one started. They'll get you the best practices. The state has invested $20 million to help provide funding to companies, to help get funding directly to companies, to say this is a way to help get this going in your company. And the Exarban Foundation helps facilitate that with the Department of Economic Development, because that work experience for a college student, and they've even opened it. High school students also qualify for it.
Right.
There's data now that they've been able to kind of show that if students in certain areas get certain amounts of internships and they reach certain amounts of income that they receive from those internships, there's a stronger likelihood that they'll stay in the state.
Yeah.
And so now they're able to prove with certain data points.
They're making friends and they're making business associates.
They're making business, and that they're getting a stronger connection, arguably, to a company and to the people and to the region and to the atmosphere that they don't want to leave. And I think that is something that, the Greater Omaha Chamber, we've got a number of interns that we have hired this spring in our organization. That's something that I've been a very big proponent of saying we have to lead by example as well. We've got to have a strong internship program year in and year out. And ideally for us, it's not that we'll not just have interns, but hopefully we'll look to hire, when we're hiring new teammates, that we'll be able to hire those teammates from our internship
people
pool.
that have already been indoctrinated into the program.
That would be the hope, that you'd be able to hire your future employee base from those programs.
How would a business get involved? Would they contact the Exarban Foundation directly?
You can go to the Exarban Foundation. Their website, they've got it connected there. They'll connect you to the Intern Nebraska website. They've got it's a very slick process of how they've been able to connect and build it out. And it's $7,500 per intern that companies can qualify for. So, if you want to build an internship program from scratch, you can qualify up to $7,500. We've been trying to promote this program to chamber members of saying, hey, this is funding that you can qualify for to hire an intern. Now, granted, you've got to match that funding, but still, it helps build your program. It helps build your employee base, but it helps you hopefully build your talent base as your company or your organization. It's tremendous. It's a partnership between the state, Exarban, and companies across the state. But for us, I would say from the state as an overall, not just Omaha, this is a statewide thing, it's hopefully going to help us recruit and retain that talent. I think that's the biggest thing. If it can help us keep those college graduates in our state, it's the best. I've convinced it's the best thing we've been able to see so far to stop the brain drain. there's going to be more. There's going to have to be more things we're going to have to do.
That's a good start.
It's a great
Great
start.
start.
It's a great start.
So in the last couple of minutes here that we have, I want to switch a little bit and just talk about the chamber itself. I think there's several businesses out there. There's 28,000 businesses, probably more than that in the metro area. The chamber membership is around 3,000. I think sometimes when I'm talking to people, they don't understand what the chamber does. They just think, well, they'll bill me whatever the fee is, 500, 600, whatever, every year, and I need to be a part of it. Chamber does a lot more than just collect dues. What are some other things that businesses should be aware of that they can benefit by a membership in the chamber?
Well, yeah, Gil, I love that question because if I could try to get this answer out to more and more businesses, I'm convinced every business would join the chamber because the value proposition is strong, and we're working right now to make that value proposition even stronger for members because outside of being the collective voice for businesses, and that collective voice for us is really ensuring businesses have a voice in various halls of government representing businesses and regulations and in laws, whether it's reducing the tax burden, whether it's reducing regulations. I mean, things that were happening in terms of trying to tax, advertising, for an example, that we were dealing with. We just went through that, for example. And I mean, a variety of things that we do on behalf of businesses, large, small, medium, all kinds of business
and
issues.
Their dues are a small
portion of it.
If they had to go hire an attorney to do all that work, correct?
Yes,
it's
correct.
Just a small,
very
portion.
small portion, very small portion of that. But that's something that that we do. We do that every day for all of our members. But a lot of what we do, we remind our members is that we provide a tremendous amount of education, networking, and arguably business assistance to our chamber members. So everything from leadership development and training programming for our members, everything Leadership Omaha, the most premier leadership development program in the state of Nebraska. We just had our graduation this week. Our leadership labs, a very amazing leadership day and a half, kind of intense programming that allows but business owners, entrepreneurs, employees that a business says, hey, I want to help develop and nurture this employee to help become a better manager or someone who I think can be a manager for me at a very, very reasonable rate comparison to some other programs that they might not be able to afford. To everything else is some of the best networking in the networking events.
I'll agree. I've been to several.
You've been to several of them.
I love them.
But also, I think the biggest thing we also remind everyone is part of what we do also for our members is things that they don't arguably pay for as being a chamber member because we are the economic development organization for the region. When a chamber member says, hey, I'm thinking about needing help to help grow my company, we as the economic development organization are there to help them grow their company. And that's unique being part of the Omaha Chamber because we go out and say, look, we're here to help you find a way to grow your company. That may be you helping find financing. That may be helping you find state programming that helps you grow your workforce, state tax incentives, helping connect you to what you may need at the end of the day. To help find a new site or a new building location that would help you grow. Those are things that are value propositions that we feel we provide chamber members that they don't get in other organizations. Those are things that are really unique for us at the end of the day for our 3,000 members. But I think it's something that I've always been, in the 10 months I've been doing this is one thing that I've been very, very focused on is I've been very adamant that, being new in this role, I want all of our members and prospective members to know that I keep trying to look at everything from a new lens, that I want members to kind of always be coming to me saying, what about this? Or have you thought about that? Because I always am thinking like, if I was a new member, if I was to be the one writing that $500 check to become a chamber member, what is it that I would want at the end of the day, whether I'm a small business or a medium-sized business? Because I'm convinced that is what a chamber should always be doing, is always be thinking, how can I be how can I be helping a company grow? How can I be helping a company network? How can I be helping a company do something that otherwise they couldn't do on their own? And that's something our team has been doing some very good lab work, I say. They've been in the lab being very creative right now. I mean, we've got some of the best events I've ever been to over the last 10 months. And we continue to do that work. But I think for folks as they are going to see some things being rolled out in the next 6 to 7 months, not just our current members, but I think some of the new members that have been signing up recently are going to be very, very surprised with some very cool innovative things that are coming out. That the more people hear about them, I think new members and prospective members are going to be very excited to want to be part of. I would say the new Greater Omaha Chamber.
New and improved, or whatever. So, how do they hear about you?
It's the tried and true method. It's omahachamber.org.
Okay.
I will tell you, I am a believer on social media. I've joked, like I've become more of we're on Facebook, LinkedIn,
Right.
Twitter, now known as X, is probably the one platform I used to use a lot, and we as an organization we generally just don't use that as much. I don't know why. It's just not a platform that a lot of our members use as much. A lot of our members use Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is perhaps the one, and I've become more of a LinkedIn user. It feels like, in light of the transition. But omahachamber.org is always, you can get us online. But I always say LinkedIn and Facebook.
Okay.
You can reach us on one of those two platforms as well. We're pretty active on those communications. And reach us one of those two channels if you can. And it's always the tried and true method too. You never hesitate to reach out via phone or send an email. My email's public. I mean, I always tell folks my email's public online. There's a lot of our emails public online. Send us an email. I mean, granted, I always joke. I get probably 500, 600 spam emails a day. I always ask people, I always ask people, give me a little grace with emails because I got to go through.
I'll get back to you.
I got to go through so many emails to know whether or not they're real people emails, if they're like local Omaha folks, or they're like spam emails from
some
New
basement
York,
in Nigeria that wants to invest $16 billion.
New York, California sales folks saying, I want to sell you some IT software and so I always just ask people, like, hey, give some grace, because we get a lot of sales folks, out of town folks that you got to go through and make sure. And because people give really good sales emails now too, and I will appreciate this, as someone who always appreciates good marketing, advertising, and sales. You got to appreciate the emails and the communications now have gotten really, really good, and so I sift through them, and I read them, and I appreciate them. It's always educational stuff.
But they can still go to their website,
always,
and check it out, get information on how to become a member,
chamber member. Yes,
and personally, the businesses that I've worked for the last 30 years here in Omaha have all been chamber members, and you get out what you put in.
Agreed.
So if you attend the networking events, if you go to some of the education seminars, some of the, just as a resource, it's certainly worth the small investment. You couldn't buy that resource anywhere for that fee. So that's just my opinion.
And I'd give a little teaser. I would tell you the one thing that we've heard more and more is that folks would like to see a little bit more on-demand material from us. And I think people will probably, for those who are watching and listening to us today, and thinking about joining the chamber, and even some of the folks that are chamber members, I think more and more they're going to probably see us try to provide a little bit more on-demand materials for them, because I think we realize to some extent we always want to bring people together.
On a different time frame.
Like we always, we're a believer of bringing people together. That human connection is so vital to do business.
Business has changed.
Business has changed though in some form. So you want to be able to give people some ability to do on demand, whether it's on demand training, on demand content, helping them be able to be better business owners, better sales associates, better marketers, whatever it may be, whatever training, education, networking they may need. But we want folks to know, like, we're trying to find ways to help get them the materials they need, the information they need in an on-demand world. But it's always still about people. And I always tell folks we're in the people business.
Get people together.
And our job is to get people together to help make business happen. So
great way to end this. Heath, thank you so much for being my guest or our guest for the Omaha Magazine podcast, and wish you continued luck with the chamber. I think, what was David there, 20 years? 15
near 20,
years?
Yep, near 20 years. Yep.
So I don't know if you want to stick around 20 years, but it sounds like there's some great expectations, some great things going on in Omaha right now. It's probably a fun time to be chamber president, to see all these going through and being able to lead the organization and be a major player, obviously, in Omaha.
Well, I thank you, Gil, for the opportunity, and thanks for your partnership. We love working with you and Omaha Magazine. It's been a great experience so far. We've got a lot of work to do. And like I say, the work never really ends for us to promote Omaha and to promote the region, and just appreciate everything you do and Omaha Magazine does to continually help us tell Omaha's great story. Thank you.
Well, we'll do the best to help you out.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Heath, thanks again.
Appreciate it.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks again for joining us today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode.